Good afternoon and welcome to NYCryptoTalk. Today's project review is on HPB, High Performance Blockchain. Now, this has been a project I've been eyeing for quite a while and had a little bit high of a market value when I first looked at it for a new project, which seems to be the case for most projects. They come out very high and then they settle out. And with the market we've been in, I've been doing a lot more research on the project, and man, I was totally shocked with the information and the team behind it and the tech behind it. So what is high performance blockchain? If you're not familiar with it, it is a new approach to the blockchain which basically solves a major issue, which is scaling. I know scaling has come up in a lot of my videos, and it is one of the major concerns right now. It is a blocking factor for most projects right now to get adopted, and with Bitcoin and Ethereum being very slow compared to all these new projects coming out, low transaction speeds, excessive latency on Bitcoin and Ethereum, CryptoKitties clogging the whole platform, HPB basically is looking to handle this through hardware and software architecture. So it is utilizing both software mechanisms, which every blockchain right now is working on, and it is becoming a unique project because it is also implementing hardware. So it is building its own hardware to offload some of the actual transactions per second onto this specific hardware that both HPB can run as well as users can run. So with a target of 1 million transactions per second and a 3-second confirmation time, they aim to be one of the standards for all major business applications in industries that require handling of billions of data points with extremely low latency. Just to give you an example, Bitcoin is about 7 transactions per second, Ethereum 15, Ripple 1,000, Bitcoin Cash 40, Cardano 10, Litecoin 56, Stellar 3,700, NEM 4, EOS we don't know yet, NEO is about 1,000. So some of these might have been changed. This is from historical review, and obviously the main centralized account is to be compared with is Visa. A lot of people compare themselves with Visa, which does about 4,000 to 5,000 transactions per second daily, but it can handle between 50 and 60,000 transactions per second. So a lot of people are looking to get that down. So they are developing a hardware accelerated network card known as a TOE. And what is TOE? TOE stands for the TCP IP offload engine, which is capable of supporting millions of transactions per second. And I will show you guys what it's based off of and pictures of it as well. So utilizing this, they can handle the blockchains and address speed and scaling. So it's very interesting how they use it, but hardware is really where they plan to resolve the bottleneck that's currently happening right now. And just to give you a brief overview, this is just from Wikipedia. TCP offload engine, this is what they're basing it off of, their TOE card. And it basically says it's a technology used in network interface cards to offload processing of the entire TCP IP stack, basically the network utilization, to the network controller, the card. It is primarily used for high-speed network interfaces such as gigabit internet, Ethernet, 10 gigabit Ethernet, and processing overhead of the network stack before it becomes significant. The term TOE is often referred to the NIC itself, although circuit board engineers may use it for an integrated circuit. So TOEs are often suggested as a way to reduce overhead associated with IP storage protocols such as iSCSI and NFS. So it basically frees up CPU utilization, so your CPU doesn't get used, your GPU doesn't get used. It is going to be a standalone processor to be able to work with the network, and they plan on utilizing this for the actual network. This is a picture of it. I found this on Reddit. of the actual card, you can actually see it says HPB engine board. And this is them probably testing it out for the testnet. And this is the CEO of the company holding it. They are manufacturing their own for the testnet. HPB just announced its closed beta testnet phase, and now it's opened up its public beta testnet phase that starts today, April 4th, 2018. They have instructions on how to utilize the public testnet, as well as to claiming the testnet tokens that you can utilize on the platform. They also have some updates on their actual BOE board. This is the layout. This is the card I was talking about, and when they plan to put it into production in April. The overall logic design for the actual BOE has been completed. In April, the team will optimize the modules, including the ECC, acceleration, and network. So this is what handles the actual network congestion and the actual nodes, basically, in layman's terms. The team has also completed tests of the hardware acceleration utilizing different platforms, so ARM processors. Basically, this is testing BOE with different processors. The hardware testing on our testnet has been completed. The ARM and BOE node has properly run at high performance using HPB technology. The ECC signature verification currently reaches 30,000 verifications per second. This is sufficient performance to convince the HPB team that 1 million verifications per second can be reached with proper optimization. So very cool stuff as far as their public testnet is released. Going back to their website though, you'll find all the basic information on the page, the white paper, the link to their GitHub. They just started recently updating their GitHub with their open source material. Everything within the project, including the hardware, is open source, which is good to know. Other platforms can build similar types of technology down the road, but I believe HPB will be the first with the hardware-based blockchain solution. They have the chip-level acceleration engine, which is what drives the actual network, deep integration of hardware and software that works together in parallel, and what they want to be the HPBX million-level concurrent algorithm, and this is the DApp ecosystem based on HPB to support scenarios that require high-performance blockchain. Xiaoming Wang is the founder and CEO of the project, as well as his other co-founders of the project are on here. They have their advisors and investors, and I'll get into it. The first two gentlemen here on the advisor team are both former and current employees of the UnionPay project, and I will go about what that means for HPB in the future, as well as quite a few people, and notably Neo as one of their first angel investors for the platform, and this goes into the white paper as well, because they will be utilizing and working with the Neo virtual machine, so they could integrate with Neo platform, as well as Dahong Fei has mentioned HPB in a blockchain summit back in January. So obviously with the advisory board of Dahong Fei or Neo Council, them talking about the virtual machine, the Neo virtual machine, obviously this could be a scaling platform, an integration, a backbone, or something to work with the Neo ecosystem. So very cool stuff. Their roadmap. So Q1, the testnet has launched. The mainnet is going to be planned for Q2 initially when I looked at this project, and I was a little hesitant because everything was out in 2019. It did scare me a little, but they said that they have pumped up their team. They have a lot more people working on the project, so they were able to scale their roadmap to be much closer for development. So their mainnet is planned to be, at least most of their mainnet is planned to be on Q2 2018, which is awesome. They plan for Q4 launching industry implementation solution plan, which is most likely going to be ICOs and other types of platforms within the HPB ecosystem. 2019 is going to be the final version, which they plan to have more information to come out about that. What's the differentiator between the mainnet in Q2 and 2019? Going to their Twitter page, They are pretty recent when it comes to Twitter, and most of the team does not speak English, so they haven't been as active as most projects are. Being a Eastern project, just like some of the other ones I have reviewed in the past, they don't get as much attention as some of the projects that on the Western world or in Europe. So I think that's a good thing as far as being able to acquire the project early in the life cycle. So definitely check them out on Twitter. This is their roadmap, as I mentioned. This is just breaks down what they've done in the past, and we have talked about their testnet being launched and their mainnet being launched in Q2. Their equipment on the testnet, they are talking about what they're utilizing right now on their testnet. Since all their hardware has not been built yet, they will be utilizing cloud computing as well as some self-built hardware nodes, and they will be also equipping these nodes with the hardware acceleration board for testing. And those are the boards that I had shown before. Before I jump into the white paper, I want to go over a Q&A that HPB had released on Reddit. They did an AMA basically, and they voted on questions and they responded to them. So one of the top ones that obviously comes up with HPB is their partnership with UnionPay. Does it exist? What is the information? Because their executive president on their advisor board is from UnionPay. One of the other advisors was a previous employee of UnionPay, and UnionPay is China's largest bank card payment processor, doing about 80% of the banking transaction data. And this is, we're talking annual turnover of 80 trillion yuan. So very major announcement, probably one of the biggest companies a newer blockchain can partner with. If that is the case, this could be a major endeavor for them. But they said they can't disclose this because of the NDA, even though it is in their white paper. So that's why I wanted to bring this up first. They talk about the use cases, and they basically said that they can, they're basically a performance-based project, so HPB will be able to build the DApp ecosystem, and it can grow over time. Because of the way the system works, they can scale more and more as more of these cards and more of the devices are utilized on the platform. How is HPB's relationship with Dahongfei and NEO? As I mentioned before, they are one of the early angel investors. They also have a technical collaboration with NEO, as I mentioned, the NEO VM. NEO is kind of like the ontology or Elastos. It's not on top of the NEO blockchain, but works with it. Here's a little snippet of the interview that was done with Dahongfei back in January. So you can see here the dApps and ecosystem of NEO, and you can see we have HPB as a NEO contract adopted. So you can think of it similar to Ontology Elastos. It works in collaboration with NEO. So good things to come if it is definitely working with NEO. Which components of HPB will be patented? It's all open source. As I mentioned, will they be done in-house? They are being done in-house right now, but they have a production factory that will do everything else. Will the token inherently grow in value? Obviously, as time takes on, things will grow and the increase will go with that. Can you tell us something about the partnership with the Banyan network? Banyan is developing big data applications based on HPB, so that's a huge partnership. The TPS test, their information hasn't been disclosed yet. Once the testnet information is out, then of course we'll know what the TPS volume is. They talk about their GitHub. They haven't been recently active, so now they're just starting to contribute. The mainnet was moved. As I mentioned, the team is now growing so they can push up the release. And they say that the version 2, which is the 2019 mainnet, will have a wider hardware node distribution as well as improvements to performance with more application scenarios. Exchanges, they can't discuss, obviously. Rolling out English marketing campaigns, they said they already have it. Potential government company partnership they can't talk about. New white paper is supposed to come with the testnet, so I'm not sure if the white paper I reviewed was the new one or the old one. That I can't tell, so I do apologize. How will the hardware be distributed? So it's still under discussion right now. Basically, they talk about being able to either give it out, sell it for cost, or they will disclose how to build it, since it's open source. So the cost structure of the hardware, you can either build it or plan to sell it. I see. You're planning to release the mainnet in 2018 Q2. Is it possible to launch ICOs on HPB blockchain? When it is released? So their answer is yes, it is possible. So HPB could actually have ICOs in Q3, Q2 if we know. They don't have any information on it as of right yet, though. Timeline on scaling NEO and Ether, because this is information in the white pages. Do you have information about that now? They said when we have more information about scaling, we will give an update. How many HPB will be necessary for Masternode? They don't know. How will HPB's interest to share the accelerated hardware with other blockchains? It's open source, so other people can use it, they said. Will the hardware be available to the public? Yes. Will HPB mostly target Chinese companies? Basically, they say the blockchain industry is international, will welcome partners from home and abroad. When can we expect to get information about the results of the testnet? The results will be updated in time. And will there be a rebrand? And it says stay tuned with the smiley face. I personally don't think they need a rebrand. I kind of like high performance blockchain, and the photo of it kind of reminds me of the Umbrella Corporation from like Resident Evil, so kind of think it's cool. But obviously high performance blockchain is pretty redundant. I don't know, so we will see. Moving on to the white paper, I am going to roll over a couple of things on the pages before I jump to CoinMarketCap. So current status of blockchain technologies, as you guys know, issues with transaction performance, security, high transaction fees, developing dApps that are related to all these things. What HPB is positioned to utilize that hardware model to basically fix what's currently going on with the issues today. The software architecture provides account, identity, and authorization management, policy management databases, and asynchronous communication on thousands of CPUs, FPGAs, or clustered program. This is a new architecture that can support millions of transactions per second and support authorizations within seconds. Then they have the hardware architecture. And the hardware is where there's the fusion of the high-performance computing blockchain concept, cloud computing hardware systems with distributed core nodes, a HPC-powered universal communication network, and an HPC-powered cloud platform. Basically, this architecture supports core node blockchain standards and consensus algorithm and blockchain task processing functions. The core node includes a hardware acceleration engine embedded with software. So there's multiple layers here. We have our application layer, which is what most people see. The bottom layer, which has all the business logic, the algorithms, the smart contracts, the physical layer, which is the devices that utilize the applications, and then they have their network, their hardware network, basically. So the BOE technology is what I had talked about before, as far as the actual cards, the consensus algorithm, acceleration, data compression, data encryption. All that is what's going to be supplementing the software portion of the project. Network performance. In the HPB network, one of the conditions to become a high contribution node is to provide network bandwidth to the system. So that's where the BOE technologies comes in and utilizes the hardware level to achieve this node connection traffic. Through the BOE technology, the consensus algorithm can calculate the network bandwidth data provided by a certain node. Concurrency. So the BOE engine basically can maintain more than 10,000 simultaneous TCP sessions and processing 10,000 sessions in parallel. This will greatly reduce the number of distributed network layers. So this is how they're going to be able to get to that 1 million transactions per second area. And how does this differ? This will take over traditional software serial processing functions such as transaction data broadcasts, unverified block broadcasts across the network, transaction confirmation broadcasts, and so on. So basically all the confirmations that you would normally see in a system would be done with the BOE acceleration engine. Obviously, they're going to be utilizing application services such as blockchain APIs or application SDKs so that developers can build on the platform with existing development languages and multi-blockchain data query, transaction submission, and other blockchain operations, and they can build applications on top of the project. So going into the virtual machine, so they have a goal to support a variety of virtual machines and over time add new virtual machines. They consider themselves a modular design so that they can support multiple different methodologies for this smart contract platform, and there are two main ones that they plan on doing, or I guess three, because one is general virtual machine mechanism. Then there's Ethereum virtual machines that they can work with Ethereum. Basically, it is feasible that HPB operating systems, blockchain, and EVM smart contracts can run in an internal sandbox and interact with other HPB applications with only minor adaptations. Neo Virtual Machine, which I've talked about like 3 times already, is actively being used for enterprise-level finance solutions in other industries and can be used with HPB. When future Neo VM users run into scenarios requiring high performance, they can interact with HPB with only small adaptations. So they can work with Neo. Very cool. And then we go into the smart contract information. I won't go too much into detail on that. The system configuration has some good information. System monitoring as far as how they can log the information and how the hardware utilized in the project actually helps with system monitoring. The token details based on the HPB consensus algorithm. A high contribution node, HC node, has the right to generate a block. 3 necessary conditions for becoming a high contribution node are: have the BOE hardware acceleration engine, hold a certain number of tokens, and contribute to the necessary network bandwidth for the entire system. So this is almost like their master nodes, which they don't know what the details are, but basically you need to hold the token, have the card, and then be able to have a certain bandwidth on your network. And basically after they do their mainnet, this is where the coin rewards will work. They are, I don't know how this works with the token metrics, but they basically say the number of additional issuance does not exceed 6% per year of coin rewards. So we could potentially be seeing a 6% increase year by year once the mainnet is launched. So the 100,000 tokens could go to 106,000 tokens. And this goes into the actual coin supply and how things are allocated. The ICO refunded tokens, I don't think they've given out much information on how it's going to be. It just says it's remained locked, but it doesn't say when it's actually going to be unlocked. They go into application scenarios. So big data, which they're currently kind of working with right now, is one of the main goals, is being able to work with these big companies. They also want to be able to do gaming. This is a big industry that a lot of people are trying to do, which is virtual currency. So obviously big data, which is where they need security, they need high transaction. So I'm hoping smart big data is really kind of where they're aiming to go. Another area is anti-counterfeit traceability. So similar to a logistics company that deals with the beginning and end of a item, either high-end, low-end, medical, pharmaceutical, anything. Anti-counterfeit traceability is a big item and a big market to be in. And then they talk about their summary and they want to thank everyone. So going to CoinMarketCap, as I had mentioned before, this has been on the market since about beginning of January, at least on CoinMarketCap. I have been involved with this project. I have been interested in this project, let me say. And I've been wanting to get into this. I think I was looking at it when it was, around this price, 10, 11, 12 bucks, and it definitely scared me. It did start hovering around, and it's been doing good with the market in general. It has gone down to $1 and change, I think $1.50. Right now it's at $2.10, so it is definitely a very undervalued project at only $46 million, which I think is kind of, after reading what the tech is, reading what the project is, seeing their potential partnerships, their definite partnerships with like Neo, and the tech behind it, having actual tech behind it, I think this is a super undervalued project right now. I definitely want to get more details on their team. I might actually reach out to their team. I've heard that they don't have many English-speaking representatives from their company, but I will try to see what I can do. I definitely think this is a gem in the rough right now. $2.10. This is a super undervalued project. I think what a lot of people have been calling them is like the EOS of China, which I hate doing those comparisons, but high performance blockchain is definitely going to be a make and shaker in 2018. So I think the tech is awesome. I think the idea behind it is awesome, and if they're the first ones out there with a hardware-based blockchain platform for high performance, yeah, they're going to be winners, So definitely do your own research. It's not financial advice. This is just some dude talking to people on the internet. Let me know what you guys think. Shoot me a message. Please like, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again.